are doing something a little bit different today. I have been wanting to film a monthly what I've been reading video forever. I think I might have done one random one back in like September maybe of 2020. I can't remember. But I'm going to start doing this every month. And right now, because of the day I happen to be filming this, I've decided to do everything I read through the 10th of the month. So this is going to include the entire month of February through the 10th of March. And then I'll try to get one up on or around the 10th. Well, I'll try to get one filmed on or around the 10th of each month going forward. I have no idea when this will go up. That will just kind of depend on the schedule. You know how things are around here. We are not professionals. But I hope you enjoy this. I really love watching other people's book reviews and what they're reading and all of that, because I just like to have some ideas. So Jason and I are avid readers. We love to read, both of us, but we've had kind of fallen away from it in the last months of 2020, and we've really gotten back into it. So I've only read 5 books this past month, which is low for me, but I thought I would just share with you what I've read. I kind of have 3 different categories here. I do also have 2 magazines I'm going to discuss super quickly at the beginning here. And then I have some Christian fiction books that I'm reading. I have a Star Wars book that I read, and I have some mystery books. There will probably be something in each of those categories every month. There will also most likely be some nonfiction books coming up in future months, but yeah, that's where we're at right now. So the 2 magazines, and I will leave links in the description if you're interested in either of these. They're both Christian magazines. The first one is called Voice of the Martyrs. This subscription is free. It is just stories of persecuted Christians around the world. It's very interesting. There's some very interesting cultural stories, some uplifting stories, some really hard stories, but it's just, I think it's just so important for us to know what's happening to our fellow human beings around the world, and for me as a Christian in particular, to know what's happening to fellow Christians, and also to really appreciate how good we have it here in the United States. And the other magazine is the World magazine, and this is just a news magazine. There's some politics, there's some feel-good news stories, there's some cultural stories, there's book reviews, music reviews, movie reviews, all kinds of things in here. It's a really good magazine. It just comes from a biblical worldview standpoint. So not every article is overtly religious or Christian, but they are all from a biblical worldview. So if that's something you're interested in, again, I'll leave the links in the description box below. I believe World Magazine is somewhere in the high 30s or low 40s per year for the subscription. So I will leave that information below if you're interested. Let's see, let's start with Star Wars, because I only read 1 book in the Star Wars genre this month, and that was Dawn of the Jedi Into the Void by Tim Levin. So good. So this book is the first book chronologically in the Legends side of things. If you are familiar with the Star Wars universe, you know that the newer movies are considered canon, new canon. They've veered or strayed or whatever you want to say from the original stories. So a lot of things won't match up, but I've decided to go Legends first. So I'm reading the old stories first, and this is the first one, the oldest one chronologically. It took place 25,000 years, I believe. Yes, before episode 4. So long time ago. And the main character is a Jedi. Her name is, I don't know how to pronounce this. It's Lannery Brock. And the story is of her and her brother, the journey they took as kids, and then there are a lot of flashbacks between then and now, her as an adult, and sort of what has happened to them. And there's of course a big storyline that I don't want to spoil for anybody, but basically she is searching for her brother, and we find out a whole lot about what happened in their past, on their past journey, to like honing their Jedi abilities into where they both are at now. And it's just very interesting. It's super exciting. There's so much action, so much story, and if you like the Star Wars storyline in general, the Jedi and the Sith and all of that, you will really, really enjoy this. So I would highly, highly recommend. I'm already a good chunk into the next book chronologically, and loving that too. So yeah, these are going to be really fun, I think. The next category, the Christian fiction. which I'll get to as soon as I change my battery. Okay, so fresh battery. Moving on to Christian fiction. Many of you will remember these, the Left Behind series by Tim LaHaye and Jerry B. Jenkins. They were written and started to be released back in the late 90s, I believe. I'm fairly certain there's 9 books, it could be 10, in the original series. I've read them all before, but with everything that's going on in the world today, it really feels like we're getting closer and closer to the end, and so I just felt like this would be kind of a good time to read these again, and they are so good. They are fiction books based on the events of the book of Revelation in the Bible, based on the second coming of Christ, returning to bring all of the Christians from the earth to heaven, and the story of who is left behind and what happens to them during the tribulation, all the way until Jesus returns the final time. And they're very, very interesting. Obviously, coming from a Christian viewpoint like I am, it has special meaning. I believe the Bible to be true, so this is literally fiction based on a true story. But even if you are not a Christian, I still think you would really enjoy the books. They're well written, they're fast paced, there's adventure, there's just suspense, mystery, there's all kinds of things. It has something for everybody, I think, in them, so I would recommend them even if you are not a Christian. But yeah, if you do read them and you have any questions with regards to what they are based on, the book of Revelation in the Bible would be where you would look for what they are based on. But anyway, the main 4 characters that start in Left Behind, which is the first book, are Rayford, who is a pilot, his daughter Chloe, and then a reporter named Buck from a newspaper in Chicago, and Bruce, who is the pastor of a small church, or was like an administrative pastor or something at a small church. Anyway, they form a little group that they call the Tribulation Force, which is book number 2, which I also finished. I am in the midst of book number 3 now. And basically, they are some of the people who were left behind. They're trying to figure out what happened. People are thinking it could be aliens. Some people know it was Jesus returning. Some people are thinking everybody was sick and it was an illness. It's just very, very exciting and fast-paced and good, so I can't recommend them enough. So yeah, definitely check these out if you're interested. Super good. I'm glad I'm reading them again. And then the third and final category for this month is mystery. I love a good murder mystery. Absolutely love it. And I found these 2. They're both authors that I've kind of stumbled upon accidentally and ended up really loving everything I've read of theirs. So the first one is Lucy Foley, and this book is called The Hunting Party. It's got the 20% off Target sticker on it. So clearly I bought it at Target. It's basically about a group of friends who spend New Year's together in the remote Scottish wilderness, and there's a murder while they're there, and there's a whole bunch of twists and turns to the story. Every character is just so interesting, and the book is written so that each chapter is a character's name. So you're hearing from that character in each separate chapter, and I really like that layout. It really kind of helped me to get deeper into the story and not lose track of where we were, so to speak. And there was a little bit of time jumping from the beginning of their trip to the end, so from a couple of days before New Year's to a couple of days after, but nothing major. It was just super good, and the twist at the end was, whoa, mind-blowing. I did not see it coming. And it's hard to do these reviews without giving anything away, so I don't want to spoil anything for anyone. But yeah, super, super good. Basically, the back says, a New Year's reunion in the remote Scottish wilderness. The beautiful one, the golden couple, the volatile one, the new parents, the quiet one, the city boy, the outsider. One of these friends is a murderer, and one won't make it out alive. Ooh. Anyway, I really enjoyed it. I basically speed read through it because I needed to know what was going to happen. And the last book, same thing. I basically speed read through this one because I had to know. This author is Ruth Ware, and her books are amazing. I have read many of her books, and maybe someday I will bring in some of the other ones that I've read previously and talk about those too. But this one is called The Death of Mrs Westaway. It's about a girl named Hal. She gets a letter from her supposed grandmother's estate, saying that she has passed away and there's some financial, like money and property and things that are meant to come to her in the will. She doesn't know this person. She doesn't believe she's related to this person, but she decides to go anyway because she's in some financial trouble. So I'm not telling you anything that isn't on the cover of the book here, but what happens when she gets there, the things she finds out, the twists, the turns, they never stop. It is so, so good, and I did not see the end coming at all. This is probably going to be a theme with the mystery books, because most of the ones I've read lately have been so good, and I just, yeah, did not see the end coming. So highly, highly recommend this and any other of Ruth Ware's books. All of the characters in these two books are British, so I believe these may be British authors. I could be wrong. I'll do a little better research before my next video, but yeah, super, super good. So I have no duds this month. No duds. No books that I wouldn't recommend. I would highly recommend every book I read this month. That will definitely not be the case every month. There's always times when you read a book and you're just thinking, not so much. So yeah, anyway, the two magazines that I mentioned at the beginning, like I said, I will throw those in the description box if you're interested in going to those websites and checking those out. And just the little recap: Star Wars Into the Void, Start of the Legends series. Super good. Definitely the place to start if you want to read the Star Wars books. We have the Christian fiction with the first two books from the Left Behind series. Oldies, but still very good. And then the two mystery books, The Hunting Party and The Death of Mrs Westaway, Lucy Foley and Ruth Ware. I highly recommend anything written by either of these authors, especially if you like mysteries, because they are super good. You might not want to read them alone at night because they give you the goosebumps, and yeah, super scary, but also super good. Yeah, so that was my first book review. I apologize if it isn't super polished, or yeah, I mean, please feel free to leave me comments, give me some tips or suggestions, things you'd like to hear more about or less about, or things I could do differently. Because like I said, this is the first time I've done this, and obviously I want it to be interesting for you guys. So yeah, any tips or tricks would definitely be appreciated. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this, maybe got some idea of some books to read, and hopefully next month we'll have a lot more than 5 books, because we really need to get down to business with reading. So anyway, I hope you're having an awesome day. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this. Like I said, leave me a comment. Always appreciated, and I will see you in the next one.